Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990's Represent. We're starting out our fifth cycle of 1995 with an album. In this episode, we're talking about the iconic Smashing Pumpkins album, Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness. One of their very best albums, a just huge, ambitious album, double album, I should say, over I think like 2 hours on just the original release. So that's kind of like on the levels of like All Eyes on Me by Tupac, to where it's two very full length albums. Like basically each album on this, or each disc basically, is over an hour long each. Just like I said, an incredibly ambitious album. I own it on CD, and I remember picking up the CD in late 1995 with like Christmas money or something like that. I think for Christmas that year I got my first portable CD Walkman, and kind of to then I obviously got some Christmas money, and I remember picking up, I think the two albums I picked up with that Christmas money were this album, and I think it was One Hot Minute by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Not Red Hot Chili Peppers' best album, probably by a long shot, but very entertaining. And Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness is just, like I said, an incredible record. The first half has a lot of their kind of iconic hits, like Bullet with Butterfly Wings is on the first half, Tonight Tonight. The second half is more kind of experimental, but that half does also include 1979, which is like a classic as well. I have some notes here about the album, and then we'll get to the track list and all that as well. Just pull it open here. There we go. So Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, first released October 24th, 1995. This is their third studio album following Gish and Siamese Dream. I still think overall I prefer Siamese Dream. If I had to choose between the two of them, I would probably go with Siamese Dream, even though I think this is probably easily my second favorite album from them. Saw them live back, I want to say it was like maybe toward the end of 2022. I'll leave links in the description. I think I have a playlist, or I have some videos from that show that will be in the description. But the first thing I saw from this was the Bullet with Butterfly Wings music video. And Bullet with Butterfly Wings is just a classic track. It definitely goes hard, and it's amazing. The video is really good too. But I remember seeing that like late night on like MTV, and I think it was like right after seeing like Dangerous Minds or something like that. I could be mistaken, but I remember the movie theater that I used to go to would get movies like somewhat late. I was doing some research into Dangerous Minds because like I want to see when it came out, if it was around the time of this album, but it actually came out a couple months before that. But the movie theater I would go to would get stuff very late, like several months late. So this was like at least getting it a couple months late, because I remember like almost everybody in my high school, or like a ton of people, went to see Dangerous Minds, probably because of the Gangster's Paradise music video or whatever it was. But I remember like coming home that night, and I didn't have a TV in my room at the time, but I think they were doing something in my room to where I couldn't be in it. And this is like my freshman year of high school or something. So I had to like sleep in a different room that actually did have a TV. And I remember watching a bunch of just like late night MTV, and the Bullet with Butterfly Wings music video came on, and I was just kind of blown away. I remember talking to my friend at school like a couple days later, because that would have been like a Saturday night, but like on like Monday morning, I'm like, hey, have you seen like the music video for this? Because it's crazy. So that's just kind of like how I kind of got into wanting that album. Is like that song came out, and I was just kind of blown away. It debuted at number one on the Billboard 200, and apparently it's the only Smashing Pumpkins album to actually be at the top of the Billboard 200. I think all their other albums have probably fallen onto the charts at some place, but Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness is apparently the only one that actually topped the charts. A bunch of just iconic singles came out of this album, including Bullet with Butterfly Wings, 1979, Zero, Tonight Tonight, Muzzle, and 33. 1979 is a classic. Zero's amazing as well. I remember the first time I listened to this album on that, and the very first time I listened to it was on that portable, the CD Discman. And for a split second, I thought my headphones were messed up because I think that was the first time I had played an album on headphones where it had the intro riff to Zero. I think is in like the left channel, and I'm like, I'm not hearing this thing on my right. And then immediately after that, the right channel picks up with the rest of the intro to that song. So I remember that being like the first time I heard like select. I don't know what it's called, but like where you have sound in one channel or in one headphone and not the other, and then it obviously picks up because there's been a bunch of songs that kind of do that over the course of history. But I think like this was the first time I remember hearing that kind of a stereo where it would kind of pan a little bit, like be in the left and then it would be in the right and then it would just be in both. But I was kind of blown away by that. Album ended up getting 7 Grammy nominations as well as 9 MTV VMA nominations, and I think my research according to that was 8 of those 9 nominations were for the Tonight music video, which is just a masterpiece of a music video. Essentially based on kind of like using imagery and the stylistic trappings of the George Malay's, I think it's like a trip to the moon. Let me actually just bring that up really quick. Let's see, George Malay's, yeah, a trip to the moon. So basically, just a very iconic music video, like probably one of the greatest music videos of all time, possibly. And I think like the first time I remember, like I didn't know what it was at the time, but I remember like it was using elements of older stuff, specifically the George Malay stuff, in a different like context. And I guess it was actually like maybe the first time I noticed something being postmodern, even though like I probably didn't know what that term meant at that time. I still don't know if I've completely wrapped my head around postmodernism. But anyway, back to the notes. This album absolutely just kind of blew up. This is apparently the first time that Smashing Pumpkins had songs in the top 40. So from some of the kind of singles off of this album. I have some quotes here from Billy Corgan about the production of this record. Let me just bring those up here in my notepad here. And this was about them kind of going through and deciding to do a double album, basically. So Billy Corgan said, quote, "We almost had enough material to make Siamese Dream a double album. With this new album, I really liked the notion that we would create a wider scope in which to put the other kinds of material we were writing." Basically, he said he wanted it to kind of like, when their approach, he wanted it to feel like it was going to be their last album. So kind of just like leaving everything like on the record, so to speak. They ended up not going with Butch Vig for this record. They went with Flood and Alan Moulder. There's a quote here about why they did not go with Butch Vig. Let me actually just bring that up here. And this is another Billy Corgan quote. He says, quote, "To be completely honest, I think it was a situation where we become so close to Butch that it started to work to our disadvantage. I just felt we had to force the situation sonically and take ourselves out of the normal Pumpkin recording mode. I didn't want to repeat past Pumpkin work." So kind of forcing themselves to kind of get out of their comfort zone, because I think they had worked with Butch Vig on both Gish and Siamese Dream and decided to kind of go in a different direction here. Kind of, like get out of their comfort zone and push the boundaries with something completely new. Apparently also Flood, the producer, made them kind of set aside time like every day to just jam and songwrite. And that was something that they hadn't done before. So he kind of pushed them to change like their approach to writing and recording music. So I think it definitely worked to their advantage with this record here. Can't talk about this record without talking about just the incredible artwork on the cover, like a mix of classic artwork with new stuff as well. Let me now get to the reviews for this album, and then we'll get to the track list. Let me just pull up some review scores here, and we'll see what those are. And yeah, this album is just incredibly critically acclaimed, like overall. So basically, we're just gonna start with these reviews. All Music has it at looks like a 4.5 out of 5. Entertainment Weekly has it at an A minus. The Guardian has it at a 4 out of 5. LA Times a 3.5 out of 4. NME has it at an 8 out of 10. Pitchfork has it at a 6.8 out of 10, and that's their 1995 review. But more recently, well, still a while ago, in 2012, they updated that score to a 9.3 out of 10. Q has it at a 4 out of 5. Rolling Stone, 3 out of 5. Rolling Stone Album Guide, though, 4 out of 5. And then Spin has it at an 8 out of 10. And now we're going to just jump into our track list here. So that's 2 albums, maybe not over an hour. So the disc 1 is 57 minutes and 54 seconds, while disc 2 is an hour and 3 minutes, basically, almost an hour and 4 minutes. Disc 1 is called Dawn to Dusk, and disc 2 is Twilight to Starlight. So track 1 on disc 1 is Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, which is just an instrumental. Then it goes right into Tonight Tonight, one of their most iconic tracks. Track 3 is Jelly Belly. Track 4 is Zero. Absolutely love Zero. Zero is a kind of short song. It's only 2 minutes and 40 seconds, but it's a blast. Track 5 is Here Is No Why. Track 6 is Bullet with Butterfly Wings. One of their best tracks and just iconic music video. Track 7 is To Forgive. Track 7 is F.U. and Ode to No One. Track 9 is Love. Track 10 is Cupid the Lock. Track 11 is Galapagos. Track 12 is Muzzle. Track 13 is Porphyria of the Vast Oceans, and track 14 is Take Me Down. That concludes disc 1, which is Dawn to Dusk, and then disc 2, Twilight to Starlight, is this side is a lot more experimental, and I think it actually has a lot less like singles or hits on it, even though it did have 33 and 1979 are on this side. But track 1 is Where Boys Fear to Tread. Track 2 is Bodies. Track 3 is 33. Track 4 is In the Arms of Sleep. Track 5 is 1979. That's a classic. Track 6 is Tales of a Scorched Earth. Track 7 is Through the Eyes of Ruby. Track 8 is Stumbling. Track 9 is XYU. Track 10 is We Only Come Out at Night. Track 11 is Beautiful. Track 12 is Lily. Then in parentheses, My One and Only. Track 13 is By Starlight. And track 14 is Farewell and Good Night. And each of those albums is, disc 2 is over an hour, so it's an hour and 3 minutes. It's like basically an hour, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And then disc 1 is 57 minutes and 54 seconds. So quite like a kind of like a time commitment. If you're going to listen to the album from start to finish, you're going to want to set aside a couple hours at least. But yeah, it's a long album, but it's just an incredible journey. I listened to it again somewhat recently to get ready for this video, and it was an absolute blast. I hadn't listened to the album in full for a while before doing this, and just remembered how amazing it was, like picking this up the end of 1995, like I said, with Christmas money or whatever it was, and getting an absolute classic album. Just a great entry into the Smashing Pumpkins discography, as well as just a great alternative rock album. One of the Smashing Pumpkins' best albums, and I think just one of the best albums probably of all time. Don't know necessarily I would rank it on my personal like list of like albums. It's on there somewhere. I just don't know where I would put it necessarily. But that is going to do it for this video. We'll be back again in a few days doing a movie from 1995. No idea what that's going to be just yet, but I'll see what I have on DVD, maybe see what's on streaming, do that. And then we'll move into a video game before jumping back into 1996 and the rest of the decade. But again, that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.